Welcome back. It's part two of teaching a 300 to smoke. You notice the engine is in a different orientation. I did not know I had run out of memory, and I kept talking and doing work, so there. Anyway, what you missed was I assembled this piece and went over and did a test, electrical test, and it works perfectly. I'm getting 10.5 volts out of here with 12 volts going in, and I'm getting 9.5 volts out the accessory ports. One port is for the motor driver, and one port is for a digital sound if we have one. In this case, we're not having one right now, and so I'm just going to have the smoke going forward. Actually, the smoke only goes into this volt regulator, which I fitted in, but I found what I had was a red bracket. I really wanted a red bracket so it matches, but as you can see, this one's not red. Well, that's because I had to print a new one that was taller, and I didn't have my red filament in the printer, so I printed in black. Well, this one isn't really the right, I've got a better version, so I went into my files, I found the better version, and I'm printing it right now, way over there, and it's not going to be done for a while. So then what I decided to do is, since this is going to print and that's going to take a while and I know what I'm going to do with it, I just set that aside for a minute, and then I took the engine apart again, and I got out the drive system and the other bits that I had. Here it is. Here's the chassis I had, and I didn't realize it, but this chassis only had one hole. You see that? One hole. And as you know, when you're going to mount smoke, you need both of those holes. So I went rooting around and I found a chassis with 4 holes. I didn't choose this one. I thought I did choose it, but I guess I didn't. At any rate, I have several. Oh yeah, this is the other one that I said. But at any rate, I found one that had 2 holes and a gear, and it was in good shape, and it would accept my roller bearing on the front of the armature, so I took it. But when I started it up, I had no smoke. Put some smoke oil in it, and I ran it, and I got smoke, but I only get smoke at extremely high speeds. And I'm wondering if you guys have seen this, where I'm running, right now I'm running the transformer to the smoke heater, and I got this meter is on the AC power at the smoke heater. This is on the temperature of the probe above board, you know. I'm not down inside, so I don't really know, but it gives me an indication how hot it is. And I'm only driving the motor at 6.3 volts. I'm running the motor off my DC power supply, because this is a DC motor now, right? Because we have, I don't know what you call it now, Negra Rosa. I don't know. It's a black magnet. No, it's still a magnet. It's Magna Negro. There you go. At any rate, black magnets, red magnets. Anyway, it's magnetized and it's running well, okay, but no smoke. So I can crank this up. Look at that. I can go up. There's 10, there's 12, there's 15 more. This baby is running, it's steaming, it's good. Where's the smoke? Okay. Let's take it down. Let's take it down to 6, and I'll turn up the AC. We're at 10 now. There's 12. You can barely see a little smoke coming out at 12 volts. Now, if I match that 12 volts to the 12 volts to the motor, that's 12 volts at the motor. So now my fan or my piston is cooling things down, and the smoke goes away again. Well, that means I got to crank this back up. Try 13 volts. Now we got smoke. We're at 62 degrees above the plate. And we're getting a little bit of smoke. Well, that's not much. But now I'm at 13. So what if I crank the motor up to 13? And now the smoke is still there. I mean, this is what you have to do. You know, at some point, you can get good smoke like that. That's almost 16 volts. Now, if I go with the motor to 16 volts, it seems like 16 volts would work. The engine will be flying into the wall again. Okay. So, now I slow it down. Dennis, lots of smoke, 6 volts. Yeah, but I got 15 volts to the heater. So, the motor, I had it tied to the DC voltage, and it wouldn't smoke unless it was going 15. I'm telling you, it's going flat out, and then it would smoke. So it's not good not to have a smoke controller, in my opinion. Okay, so I think at some point, maybe not today, but tomorrow. Picking you up whether you like it or not. At some point tomorrow, we're going to have to build a smoke board for this thing. And we're going to put in this volt regulator that I started and I didn't finish, but I'm printing the adapter. I'm going to mount that volt regulator. And what that allows me to do, and what this smoke here allows me to do, is I put in an 8 ohm heater. Okay, I put in an 8 ohm heater coil, and it will smoke at 6 volts. But if you go 9 or 12, it'll burn out. So what I have in the volt regulator, I set it to 8 volts. I run it through this piece here, and there's a sensor in there, and it measures the temperature. Then it says more or less. It rotates from 4.5 to 6 volts. And at 4.5 is when we're idling very slow at the coming into the station or something. It cuts down the energy so you still get smoke, but you're not overheating. And then when you're going full speed and you're pumping a lot of air through there, you don't get as much smoke as we were here. It increases the voltage to 6.6 volts when it gets cooler, and then that creates more smoke. So the smoke is going to self-regulate based on airflow. I hope that makes sense a little bit. And that will allow the smoke to last longer, and the element won't heat out, and it won't be running at such a hot speed. I wanted to use this smoke because it's built, it's done, and there it is. But if I put it together, I wouldn't get smoke. I'd only get smoke when the engine's going to fly off the track. And you can only do that in a straight, and I'm on a circle for Christmas. I don't have a straight, so I would never have smoke. That's kind of crummy. So to get low speed smoke, we have this, what I call smart smoke. It's just a temperature-based volt regulator. And when it gets cold, it increases the voltage. When it gets hot, it cuts back the voltage. That's what it does. And what I do is I feed it a constant 9 volts through a fixed regulator. And it gets 9 volts pretty quickly. When we start the engine, it's getting 9 volts just about. So we're okay. We'll have smoke at low speed, and we'll have good smoke at medium speed, and we won't over smoke or burn up at high speed. That's part of that story, and that's going to be tomorrow. I'll build that board, put it. I don't know if I use this smoke. I say same smoke's right. I'll figure it out. Since this one has a board, I'm guessing it's probably pretty good shape, but I haven't tested it, so maybe I'll test it. And I don't know. I just don't. I'm a little leery when I see a bunch of parts being moved around and changed. You know, I don't know when and where I did that or why. So, at any rate. apologize for the part 1 ending so abruptly and cheating you out of seeing my frustration with my volt regulator bracket being wrong. But you probably spared some of that. Is good. I know this isn't rated for children, but we don't want to upset too many good people. And so there, you didn't hear all of it. The other thing I need to focus on is my harness. Now you know I need 6 wires. This is the harness that was on the engine like yesterday or before we started this. There's the headlight. Oh, there's a headlight. And there's only 4 wires. Looks like there's more, but there's 4. 2 go to the motor and 2 go to smoke. And then there's another wire somewhere. I don't understand it, but at any rate, that is going to get not used, okay? I can tell you that right now. And I have the backup light, and that we're going to put that in the tender, and the tender's ready for it. I did a quick test fit, and everything fits in the tender body. And this is the proper chassis, so it'll fit down nice. And it'll run nice. Thing I have to worry about, I've done some insulation. I might do some more along the sides. You don't want anything touching the metal. And I think that's what happened. I was going to show you while we're just winding down here. This, get it in the light. I want you to really see this because it's pretty exciting. Do you see something that looks like brown? Yes, brown. And do you see something that looks like maybe it was a crater on top of that chip? Yeah. This is the board that was in here that went over the top and then the train didn't work. And it looks like we, really fried it. I don't think I fried one that bad. This is a $75 board. I haven't tested the sound system. I'm hoping the sound system works. If it's still good, then I might try to put it in, but not this round. This round is just smoke. Smoke only. We're going to teach a 300 to smoke. Now, it's a cheat in a way because you can see where the reverse lockout lever was. Puttied that up. The painter young man did that for me. And also, we're not really using the what would have been the chassis of a 300 because that chassis would look like this. So we're not using that chassis. I had and have several chassis from Atlantics that had smoke and a gear and everything. So I'm transplanting that chassis. It's a little bit of a cheat. But in the future, I will take the original chassis and show you how to modify it. I've been doing one somewhere. Oh, here it is. I just started this one. I've done 3 now. This is my 3rd one. Oh, God. I know. It's, I'm learning, right? I broke my mini mill, so I have to fix it. So now I've been using my new drill press, and it doesn't really like to drill straight all the time. So I'm going to have to work on my drill bits, I'm sure, are not good. And my technique, I need to refine that. But I'm going to be building one of these for this engine later. So it will be an actual fact 300 with reverse and boiler conversion. And when I do that, we'll be putting this gear and this bracket in there and this smoke. All of this will be transplanted. That was my intention, but I couldn't get the chassis. I was doing this 3rd one as a learning. I thought, well, if I can get that one done now, then I'll go to the... Well, I didn't, so I can't. So we're on hold right now. This is for Leon. It's going to get ball bearings. But I'll be using all of these same parts exactly as you see here on the Christmas train later in the coming weeks. So I don't have anything to show off the rolling road on. In fact, well, I just don't. I'm not prepared to. But we all know the rolling road. Rolling road. There's the rolling road, right? That's in Cults if you want to get that. But the rubber road bed, whoa, that has just been a beauteous. Oh my God, it's so nice. So I'm going to call this off. This is part 2. This is what we got. This is where I finished part 1, and then I went on to part 2 that you didn't see, and I told you I just took it apart basically. It's sort of like when you dissect something, except for the PC board. I had seen that earlier, but I was so upset I didn't want to talk about it. Now I'm kind of over it. I was hoping that board was okay, but I knew the engine stopped. I thought maybe it was just a wire or a sensor, but I didn't realize the board had like electrocuted itself to death. Whew. Okay, anyway, there we are. So this will be the chassis, and this will be the smoke, but this smoke is going to get a lid, a good, nice PC board lid that has temperature sensing and control, because I can't get low speed smoke out of the Flyer very well. I don't know. This one may be somewhat older, and I'll check the ohms and see what it says, but I think it's around 17 ohms. When I build this one at 8 ohms, it smokes at 6 volts really nice, so you don't have to use so much energy. Okay, there it is. We're done. I did not run out of memory, and pretty okay. You're up to speed. This is part 2. There will be a part 3. Who knows? Well, I guess there'll be a part 4, because part 3 will be finishing the smoke, and then I guess part 4 will be adding the sound and maybe something else. Who knows what we'll have. Okay, gang. Have a good weekend, what's left of it, and I'll see you later.